in the introductory video, I had put in that the first step that the school needs to do is the school needs to form a co-learning team.
Yes. That's
right?
a very first step, right? Very
Download
good.
the manual, go through the, prepare it, and then form a co-learning team.
Right.
After the co-learning team is formed, have a combined session with all staff, parents,
Yes.
children all together. If the management can be roped in, they can also be a part of that collective meeting, or
Yes.
you can have a separate session, because the management being on board is very important.
Very important. Yes, that's
So
true.
after the co-learning team, then we can move on to identifying different domains and what we are
Yes.
doing, what we are not
Yes.
doing. So mostly the schools will have a time frame till 31st December.
Yeah.
But then schools like mine, we are a little rushed. We are waiting in anticipation about what guidelines CBSE has to give. I'm
Right.
expecting they will give us a fair amount of time to fill in the
Yeah.
self-assessment form, because
Yes.
after filling the self-assessment form, we'll be able to apply for extension of affiliations.
Right.
So
That's true.
that is how the things are going to fall in place. Then
Right.
we have a third video, which will take up 1.1.3,
Yes.
which is the domain pertaining to children vocational and skill training. We will have the value education, ethos
And
building, role of
yes.
the teacher in the school, so that any school that is going in for the SQAA framework, understanding the manual, or
Right.
going for the self-assessment, a
Yes.
little hand holding is done for that school by us.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
they go through these videos, it will give
Yeah.
them a fair picture of what they should be expecting and what
Right.
should be coming.
Yeah.
They need to work on the PDCA cycle.
Yes. Very
The
important.
planning should be there, the
Yes.
execution, implementation, or the doing of that planning. That
Right.
should be visible somewhere, that this
Yeah.
is what we planned, this was the target, this is what we planned, this is
Yeah.
how we executed the plan, what we
Right.
did about it, and then
Yes.
we step back and then we
Yeah.
check the
Right.
monitoring. Whatever
Yes.
we had planned, did it work, did it not work, where we fell short, what
Right.
happened, where we goofed up, what didn't work as planned. So that will be
Exactly.
the checking part. And
Yes.
then we identify the gaps.
Yes.
When we identify the gaps, it is then that we plan again. And we
Yes.
make
Replan it.
sure that the gaps planned do
Yeah.
not remain gaps in the next cycle. So it is
Exactly.
a cycle of PDCA, and
Yeah.
then the cycle goes again. The time
Yes.
frame of that cycle, the school can decide.
Right. That is true. So we move to the next standard, which is 1.1.4. Curriculum develops skills and abilities which prepare students for lifelong learning and fosters global citizenship, leading to attainment of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, which is kind of defined by the United Nations. So there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals which need to be achieved by 2030. And most of these goals, the schools are already doing it in the form of some activity or the other. It is just that we need to document it and ensure that students are able to practically apply it in their daily life context. Now, these sustainable development goals, as I can say, it's no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, then affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, then it is industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and partnerships for the goals. 17 sustainable development goals, of which schools are already doing a lot. There are certain things which are policy matters which governments take care of, but we can be contributory factors in achieving these by developing the skills and abilities of students so that they are mentally prepared to face these challenges when they grow up in life. Yeah, Vinodita ma'am, what would you like to say here?
Ma'am, both the APP and the SQAA manual both
Yeah,
say that we need to make children lifelong learners, giving
definitely.
them a safe environment
Yeah,
and giving them an aptitude that they are ready for life and they are
yes,
ready to learn in whatever
yes,
ways they want and
right,
whatever is available for them. That is
exactly.
why this multidisciplinary integration has been done.
Yes,
So that is
very
very
important.
important. For the benefit of the viewers, I would say
Yes,
that the performance indicators for this domain
right.
1.1.1 are
Yeah,
given on page number 19,
right.
and the supportive documents which we can now we won't know how to show it, what to do. So
Yeah,
CBSE has been so kind and thoughtful. They've
yeah.
given us a list of supportive documents.
Yes. So these are the suggested documents as evidences which they have already given. So when teachers, schools go through this, they already have it. It's just that you have to collect them and keep it in one place so that these documents are of relevance when you are filling up the self-assessment form, right? Should know that they are a global citizen. So that is the reason why we need to develop these skills in them and also to give them opportunities to develop these skills where the attainment of these 17 goals is so important through integrating into the curriculum and also create opportunities for students and teachers to interact with other schools in the form of educational competitions, competitions, school visits, or just talks. Now, the documents, of course, it's also clearly mentioned here. This is also like a checklist where you can prepare, see that it is there, and also have an improvement plan in case you have not completed it or fulfilled it. And then we come to main 3.
Point three.
Yeah, student enrichment program embedded in the ACCP, where it is 1.3.1. The school provides ample opportunities for art education. Now, how can art education be a part of the lesson plan? Now, there are a lot of things which we need to incorporate. Now, I insisted upon mind maps of learning in the classroom for every subject, every chapter. Now, through these mind maps, the lesson is put in a nutshell where through art, there is connectivity to the pointers of learning, which can be, kind of designed in such a way that at a glance, the entire lesson is in front of the child and he is able to know the crux of the lesson through that mind map. In this, art education definitely supports because creative inputs in the form of sketches, in the form of coloring techniques, which helped in preparing these mind maps that help children in understanding better. Art not only for an art class, but art to be taught so that learning becomes better through creative inputs in mathematics, in sciences, and in languages, which is going to help the children in understanding the concepts better and understanding it for life. So important.
The APP at one point also talks about
Yeah.
universal design learning,
Yes.
under which it says that you can or you should be
Yeah.
teaching in multiple ways because
Yes.
children understand in multiple ways.
Yeah.
They talk about multiple intelligences, and
Yes.
then it goes to the level of saying that the submission of projects should also be permitted in multiple ways, and the assessment also should be done in
Yeah.
whatever way the child submits.
Yes.
Now, that will be a little difficult for schools, but
Yeah.
if we know that this is possible, we can
Yeah.
do it, and we
Yeah.
understand and learn little more about it, I think it will make the teacher's job easier.
Now, also, like as you suggested, the projects, they can be interdisciplinary in nature. Take up one theme and across the subjects have that theme implemented. So one project file which comprises of inputs from the Hindi language, inputs from English, inputs from ICT, inputs from science, inputs from mathematics, inputs from social science. So all subjects are brought into this, and it becomes one single entity which is easy for children to prepare and submit. So the school wall panels can become an art gallery by displaying the works of art of all the children. So that itself is an eye opener for all the stakeholders, isn't it? So that can be a wonderful way of representing art. And
Ma'am,
also,
another
yeah,
suggestion that I would like to put in here is
yeah,
both the APP and the SQAA manual talks about parent involvement.
yes,
So when we have these vocational trainings, we can somehow maybe rope in the parents also. That could
definitely.
be a big resource for us.
Yes,
With,
and many a
with
times, Vinodita, parents are specialized in these particular areas.
yes,
They can
yes.
be involved as resource persons.
Ma'am, like in my school, these
Ah,
days I am having a flute teacher who is a
ah.
grandparent of a child.
Oh,
So
that's
he
wonderful.
comes every day in the morning. He's coming in the morning for
Ah,
about 1 hour, and
ah.
he takes these classes of children to train them for flute.
Wonderful.
So that
Wonderful.
is a vocation. A parent
Yes,
is being involved. Children are
right,
learning something, and the
right.
outcome will be seen in the presentation at the annual
And
function.
now UNESCO Clubs of India, like I would like to state here, they organize a lot of art integrated activities, like, paintings or posters. And once these posters reach the UNESCO in Delhi, their Delhi office, they select the best ones and award the children. All right. And then the ones who are very good and extremely creative, such children are selected to visit countries. Like two of my children got the opportunity, one to Kazakhstan and one to Tajikistan. They went, a team of students across the country, 5 children with an art education teacher accompanying them. They were sent to these two countries where they went and learned the art forms of that particular country. So you just see the international exposure that these children got. You know, one is that it is more of a skill based course. So there is more of practical orientation than the theoretical part. So that reduces the burden of a examination stress on that child. And secondly, he will learn the skills of that trade and is going to master himself in that field. So it's very, very important that we need to kind of orient students towards this, orient the parents towards this, which is going to lead to employment opportunities and also to begin an entrepreneurial venture in this. Now, coming to the third aspect of this subdomain, the school provides facilities to students to participate in activities related to literary and creative skills, scientific skills, information and communication technology skills, communication skills, digital literacy, organizational and leadership skills, and aesthetic skills. Yeah, so it is very important that this aspect be covered where the children get opportunities to be very creative, develop them into writers, develop them into poets, so that those skills are facilitated, and also involve them in scientific activities where they come up with some kind of a prototype, right? Which develops their scientific skill. Then, with coding and data science being there in schools now, AI being there in schools, students can be so well versed in the ICT skills where they are taught programming, where they're taught to, develop uh, with Microsoft coming up with a Minecraft. They are designing such wonderful games, which is very, very mind boggling,
Yes.
and also communication skills, which helps them when they have to present what they've done. Definitely that harbors communication skills, improves their confidence in speaking and presentation skills. Digital literacy, obviously, because it involves a presentation, they learn digital literacy. Organizational and leadership skills, because they work as a team, so they're able to delegate duties amongst themselves and somebody is going to take the lead, so these skills are also developed. And aesthetic skills, that's so important. So if those aesthetic skills are more to the surface, man is a happier person in comparison to what he was in the past person.
Exactly. Actually, ma'am, when children are young, we don't teach them to look at the good in others or look at the good in the situations, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
people end up being so upset with every small little thing, and they're
Yeah.
always looking for some negativity, some flaw somewhere.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Very.
in today's days and times, it is tougher to manage children who are beyond 95, 96, 97
Yes.
because they don't have that mental makeup to
Yes.
accept any kind of failure or
Yes.
slackness anywhere. They're
Exactly.
not
That is the reason.
mentally strong enough to face that.
Very true. That is the reason we need to prepare children for this.
Hmm.
And that is through various activities that the school teaches
Yes.
them to do and also accept anything which is not what they think it is. So
Yes.
important, isn't it?
It is basically about our own perceptions and our own
Yes.
expectations.
Yes. So that brings us to the next standard, which is 1.3.4. The school has a life skills development program. So important. So important.
Hmm.
This life skills development program is an integral part of the lesson planning in my school. I tell the teachers at the end of this particular lesson, what are the life skills that the child has learned? That needs to be emphasized upon because that is what is going to teach him that this particular topic has taught him resilience or has taught him to be a decision maker or has developed his analytical skills whatsoever. So it's very important to have life skills in every aspect of learning at the school level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, we need to train children for life.
Yes. See, learning for an examination is gone now. Learning for life is what is important.
And
So,
that has to be done both as at the parents and at the school level.
yes, exactly.
Preparing
So
children for life.
involving parents at school is so important. Maybe once in 3 months or so, gather the parents of one particular class, address them, discuss. It is not just a one-sided affair. Discuss with them what are the problems that students are facing, how it can be addressed. Parents can have some good suggestions. We can have some good suggestions to give them. That way, when the two parties nurturing the child get together, there is no third option for the child but to listen to these two parties, isn't it?
When they are on the same page,
Yes,
the child will fall in line.
yes. That is the
Ma'am,
only way you can.
another way where the parents can be involved is the school can sit together and
Yeah,
decide. We have
yeah,
so many functions, we have so
yes,
many days and festivals that we celebrate. So,
right.
class wise, you can accord that
Yeah.
on this day, like we
Huh.
had a Punjab day and we
Ah,
invited parents of third standard
okay.
to come traditionally dressed. We
Yes.
had a small exhibit kind of a thing, and
Right.
not every parent came. Let's say maybe only 25-30% of the parents came, but
Right.
that made our day. Children
Yeah.
were happy, the parents were interacting. So we had
Yes.
just one last period in which
Huh.
we had an open space where
Huh.
we were discussing, they were participating, there was a
Right.
Punjabi folk. So
Yeah.
these things, they give memories to children, and the
Yes.
parents also appreciate that the school
Right.
is doing this and it
Yeah.
is good for the children. They also enjoy, they contribute very happily. So that
Definitely.
would be other activities that can be done.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Right. Now coming to the domain 1.5, values and
1.5 values and
so,
ethos.
yeah, so important in today's context, especially after the two pandemic years where 24 by 7 the students were locked up at home with only their parents to interact with. Peer groups were only virtually connected. So there were a lot of, setbacks for the children where they started regressing, what
Mhm.
psychologists call social regression.
Yes.
They didn't know how to communicate. They were silent spectators when they came back in April when the schools were announced to open in 2022. So fostering a atmosphere where they could speak to each other and catch up on all that had happened in the last 2 years was so important. So it is so important to ensure that students are opening up to you and expressing themselves because that is what is going to help us understand what is going on in their mind. And we need to create an environment in school where children know that they can go to so and so person and express in case they have a problem, or if they have an issue, or they have something which is nagging them and cannot be resolved by parents or friends. So it is the teacher who can step in. So these kind of value systems need to exist in school, where we tell them what is right, what is wrong, and if they are wrong, where they could go, and if they are right, what are the benefits that they're going to kind of get. So it's very, very important that we give them that kind of a climate or environment where there is care, compassion, and respect. And we also welcome the diversity and create a culture of pride for the school amongst the stakeholders. It's so important that teachers become counselors. That we appoint a counselor, that we appoint a special educator, that's a different issue. But today, every teacher needs to be a counselor to identify the problem that the child is facing and have a one-on-one session with the child, so that the child overcomes that problem and puts it behind her and moves forward towards achieving what he sets himself or herself for. Don't you think so?
Normally, ma'am, teachers do that. Teachers
Yeah.
are closer to children than parents are,
Yes,
and
yes,
they are deeply interested and deeply moved by what the child is going through. And in a
exactly.
number of cases, we see that it
Yeah,
is the teacher's work which
yeah,
brings the child around. When
very
the child
much.
is feeling low, when the child is
Yes,
demotivated,
right,
distracted, the
right.
teacher's role is and will always remain
Yeah.
very crucial for the child's growth.
That is the reason I'm saying every teacher now is a counselor.
Hmm.
She needs to see what is, not even expressed verbally by the child, but the eyes speak a lot.
Yes.
The face speaks a lot. So she can bring that child out of the class, very lovingly ask the child. Definitely, the child is going to open up. You're walking milestones in achieving what we could not have in a class of 40, right?
Ma'am, every child has at least one or two teachers in his journey in the school
Yes,
who have
yes.
been instrumental in being that change in his life. And that
Yeah.
is the teacher the child is going to remember all his life. Yeah.
Yes. So these values which are consistently taught through integrated curriculum plan. So those value systems also have to be there in the lesson plan. So that teacher says, okay, with children, what did you learn at the end of this lesson? What are the values that you have learned? Languages, of course, will always bring out that, but also the sciences, that is social science, science, and mathematics also can reflect values, which will be able to establish a moral ethical code which the teacher can stamp and say, yes, this is what you're going to learn in life by learning this particular chapter. It's so easy. So every teacher does that. We are able to achieve what we are wanting to for the student community.
We've had a wonderful session with you, ma'am. And ma'am, it's been a wonderful session. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for being with
it's
us.
a refresher for me also, Vinodita, because
Yes,
we
ma'am.
lost touch for
And
the last 3 months.
when we were working in the pilot study, I
Yeah,
loved your sessions. You were so good in explaining all these things.
yeah,
And that is the reason I wanted the others also to benefit. So
right.
I'm
Thank
sure
you.
these videos are going to help.